Silksong was delayed.
Aw.
If you're a Hollow Knight fan, Silksong has been delayed again. However, this actually brings us into a really good conversation about the difficult conversation around delaying games, especially for game devs in particular, and what that kind of brings about. Because I know, like, even Pete's immediate reaction of, we're big fans of Hollow Knight, and so seeing this game be delayed, but with the reasoning that they are actually exploring and further developing ideas and machinations that they have been working on and that have grown with the game, I think that it kind of brings us to a good conversation of, like, what are the goods and bads, right, of delaying a game, and how should we, as consumers and as artists or creators or developers, kind of navigate the expectations and also the sadness around having a game be delayed. Like, Alex.
I stick to what I said in our pre-show talk, which is I feel so bad for game developers. Yeah. And here's why. You are damned if you do, and damned if you don't.
Right.
Right? If you delay games, right, and you're like, okay, we're going to delay this because we want to keep working on it and things like that,
right,
you start getting fan backlash just immediately. Why are you delaying it? What did you do?
I want my game now.
Is this game ever going to come out?
Yeah.
Did you guys mess up the development cycle? Did you do this? And then, if you don't delay the game,
you get Cyberpunk 2077.
You get a lot of different games. Right?
Sorry, that was the one that I could pull off the top of my head, which no knocks, of course, or even No Man's Sky. I don't know if you played that.
I did play I played No Man's Sky at launch because I had been watching the stuff on No Man's Sky for years since they announced it. And so I bought No Man's Sky on my PlayStation 4 at launch.
I bought 2 copies.
I loved, and here's the thing, my initial, and it comes down to expectations management. Yes. And I don't know how these video game developers get around it, because again, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they delay the game, everybody's mad.
Right, but they have the chance to release a more fully fleshed out and better game at the end.
Right.
Right.
But if they don't delay and they release it on time and it has anything wrong with it,
then they are also held accountable for that. And on top of that, they also have their shareholders and executives kind of riding their butts all the way to the finish line either way.
And again, as people who pay salary, I get it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Game developers are paid a significant sum of money.
Yes.
And rightfully so.
Yes,
I'm not knocking that, by the way.
A lot of knowledge.
Right. It takes a lot to build AAA games.
Yes.
Especially AAA. I mean, like, and that's the other thing too, is I think the fans on the delay side of it, the expectation is you're going to pump out a AAA game with the complexity of a modern AAA title,
right,
without having issues. And I'm like, no.
Have you met Bethesda?
It's not like the old days. It's not like the Nintendo era,
right,
when there was a limited memory capacity. Right. There was only so big the game could possibly even be on the NES or the SNES. So there was a distinct, like, limitation. And so you had less stuff there for it to interact with.
Right.
There was less variance, especially with PCs, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on our YouTube channel, which is how many different PC configurations you think there are out there, Pete?
Now?
Hundreds of thousands.
Right. And so you have to account for every type of graphics card, every kind of CPU chip, every kind of weird thing.
Overclocking, no overclocking, different motherboards. You got the ability to have different coolers and cooling systems, which will affect the graphics cards. Yeah, no, and power supplies even, those differ greatly.
And so you have these developers who are trying to do what I would call an almost impossible task, right? Of pushing out these great AAA games, doing them on time. And again, when you announce something, there's an expectation. And that was, so to me, the biggest disappointment of something like Cyberpunk,
right,
was when they first announced it and they were like, released when it's ready, right? Because CDPR was coming in from the perspective of, we're not going to release this thing
until it's ready.
Until we are good and goddamn ready.
Which we respected.
At the time.
At the time.
Right. And CDPR, due to the fact that they're not a US-based company, has the ability to rely on government support for wages and insurance and things like that.
Right.
That allows them to kind of stretch out
so they're
the
not
timeline.
burning out their creators. Right.
Right. Which US-based developers just don't have that.
No.
Like that ability.
No, that would be silly.
So I think that the frustration with Cyberpunk 2077 specifically was that they had said, we're not releasing this until we're good and daggone ready. And then they turned around and released it anyway.
And it was not ready.
I don't even...
It has become better. Again, we're not knocking the games that we're mentioning. These games have gone through further development. There have been many patches. There have been many improvements. Like No Man's Sky. I know Pete's spent literally hours upon hours playing No Man's Sky as it is now in this iteration, and it is actually what they promised in the beginning.
It's much better.
It's much better. But coming back to our kind of the thrust of this topic is, I think we as fans need to be much more forgiving of game developers.
You have to be aware that there are people, like humans, making these games, right?
And when they say they're delaying it, accept that the reason they're delaying it is it's just not ready to go. And we've got to stop. We got to stop
minimizing the work that they do to make the games.
We got to stop giving them backlash for delaying things, right?
Right.
Because, for example, pre-orders, right? Which is one of the only ways they're generating cash flow for the development team, who is costing them a significant sum of money during the development process without anything. So when they, look, guys, we got to delay this 6 months, and 25% of the people who pre-ordered go, refund.
Drop.
Right?
Yeah, I understand.
That's why they rush these products out to market, because they're afraid. They're acting from a place of fear.
Yes. Well, not only that, and I will say, as somebody who has definitely been burned by pre-orders, I kind of avoid them now, I will say that it's not an insignificant chunk of money, right, for a pre-order. However, when you take into account that it is also benefiting the developers who are working on trying to make sure that this game comes out the way that they have envisioned and set about to make, it is definitely a good argument to mindfully make your pre-orders.
Mindfully make pre-orders, and I, like you, have been burned by pre-orders in the past, and I generally, as a general habit, I don't pre-order games. I just don't. Cyberpunk 2077 was one of the rare exceptions I had made to the whole pre-order cycle. I can't believe it. Chat's actually going to make me defend these executives a little bit. Here's the thing. The guys who are making some of these decisions, everybody answers to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when you have, I hate to say it, when you have shareholders who are like, screw you, we're suing you, which is happening to it. I'm trying to remember who that's happening to right now. There's a game company that's being sued by their shareholders because they're like, you didn't release it fast enough.
I think that there is an argument to be made that if these shareholders want to act like this, then perhaps they should learn how to do the jobs that they are also being very critical of.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the thing, is if your only skill set is to be like, I make money on people who make money, then perhaps you should learn how your proverbial soup is being made. That's the thing. Like, I mean, especially with executives who are being paid literally quadruple, quintuple the amount of the people that they are making money off of. Perhaps they should know how. Well,
especially the QA side of it, who is horribly underpaid. Yes. Yeah, to adjust some of the chat. Again, I don't want this one to devolve into, and this is where it starts to devolve, I don't want this to devolve into capitalism, because look, this show is not about changing the system. Right. If you'd like to talk about that, come to my Wednesday show.
That's Identico After Dark.
We can talk about that on the other show.
We can rage.
You know, and I kind of feel like this one kind of got away from us a little bit.
But, okay, so basically, here's the thing. Games, as it is in the core existence, right? It is still art. It is people creating something cool for other people to enjoy. It is people making content with their passions to make something that other people can then share with others, enjoy with others, and create memories with.
Yep.
So when we hear about games being delayed, it is normal to have backlash and be upset about it because we get excited about things and have expectations. Of course, very human. But it is also important to remember that there are human beings behind this project, and the name...
Who are probably working really, really hard.
Yes.
And so when you jump on the internet and start attacking them when they're delaying a game, your reaction should be something along the lines of, oh, bummer. I guess I'll check it out when it comes out, and I'm glad that they're taking the time to make the game that I want to make.
Yes.
You know, if your reaction is, F you guys suck, jump off a bridge, like...
That's not constructive.
It's not constructive, right? Like...
Being a fan is good until, of course, you are wishing harm on other people.
All kinds of things are getting delayed.
Yes.
So anyway, let us know what you think about this. Yeah, I think the game devs are in a horrible position.
It's between a rock and a hard space.
Oh yeah, I feel bad for them.
Hey nerds, thanks for watching. Visit gamersheavenpnw.com for our merch store, which you can get cool shirts like this and rep some of my awesome art. Also, like and subscribe for more content so we can make more videos for you.